Everyone sees the success. Very few people ever hear the conversations behind it. Today isn't another podcast about business strategies or making more money. It's about the habits, failures, fears, faith, family, and defined moments that shape the leaders sitting in these chairs. These are the conversations most people never get to hear, but they are often the ones that change lives the most. If you are an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone chasing something bigger, stay until the end and let's get started. Question: what's the habit you've developed that has had impact on your life?
Yeah, for me, a habit that I developed early was just work ethic. I learned to work hard at a young age, right? As being an immigrant kid, to Canada, and my parents, immigrated when they were fairly young, like they were in their early 20s or mid 20s, and so learning that I had to go to work with them, go to school like an average kid. And then in the evenings, I'd go do commercial cleaning with my parents at night,
Wow.
and sometimes that would be till 11, 12 at midnight and still got to come home and do homework. So I never grew up with this concept of taking it easy. And so that's been a habit that has just been with me for a long time. And I've just taken that approach and, good, bad, or indifferent, I've ran with it. And that's how my family operates now as well. So we're all wired the same.
Yeah, I would say for me, one habit I've thought about a lot of times is how growing up, what taught me was getting up early morning every morning to milk our cows. And so I've had this habit of consistency growing up. And I think if I look back, it has helped me throughout life, staying consistent, or just, even though you didn't feel like it, just get up and go.
Yeah.
That's I think sometimes I look back and my life has probably set the strong foundation that I've built on.
And that's a critical one, right? You always hear this, particularly that habit, do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Don't feel like it, do it anyways. Not ready for it.
Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Don't like to do it. Do it anyways. Because at the end of the day, doing it is going to yield you towards the execution of where you want to go. Because otherwise you don't do it, you don't get there.
Yeah, I've heard you say sometimes that I have executed on something that was probably some tough decisions I had to make in business. And I think sometimes that leads to that. I just do it anyways.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like, just do it, right? Yeah, I think that's been pretty cool to see in your your habits. Yeah, for sure. So what failure still sticks with you years later? Oh, this is a good
one. And this is where I am a visionary, and then I would say the failures of sometimes trying to be in too many places at once, and that a lot of times sets me back, I feel. And yeah, I have to be very intentional now. Stay focused is probably my biggest challenge.
Yeah. So failure of trying to do too much at once. Yeah. Certainly, I can see that, and definitely it's a challenge when you take on too much, right? Yeah. For me, what sticks to me about failure is the failure piece. I hate losing. I've been competitive since I was a little kid, and so what sticks to me sometimes is more the failure, the fact that we failed at something, than the actual win. And so I always dwell on the failure. I'll give you an example. Like if I lose an individual who I had really built up through a length of time, I built up individual through relationships and development, and then I lose them to another organization, that's a failure on me. And it's one that like I've carried that one for a few years, and so stuff. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay, I think it's important that we really hear about some of those big failure ones. Can you think of one that can make stick with you?
Oh, I think if I get personal, is beginning of my marriage, where I would say I was just all about work and did not take the time to build the personal relationships, and then also that had a big impact in my marriage, where yeah, Maria was saying, man, if this doesn't change, I don't see a way forward. And so it was, yeah, I had to and I had this hardcore personality of I know it all. And so that's the piece that had to change in me, and was, yeah, the hardest for me. And I couldn't do it on my own. I thought I'll figure it out, but I had to go out and find some help, or it was my wife signing me up for, okay, let's go for a counseling session. And that first session opened me up, and it opened up to a different lens. What was life all about? And it's not just about me, and and I had to really get my ego off of me, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting one. And you talk about the family aspect and how it impacts business and an execution. And it's you're driven by those decisions and those goals, but it impacts the people around you, right? And it's something that I struggled with early on, was like my first marriage, right? Like it didn't work out. And it was tied to similarly to what you just exposed, right? Is you think you know it all, you're in there. Like in my time, I was very deep in a corporate setting, and like that was my goal. My goal was to climb that corporate ladder, and completely lost focus on the family side. And so if you had to look at that family failure piece, that's one that that you have to learn from and adjust as you grow, right? But that's one that certainly sticks for me. So what's one thing that you're trying to get better at right now?
Again, multiple things, but I would say communication is something that, since English isn't my first language, I've struggled, or I feel like I haven't figured it out on the communication part. And so I have started more intentionally look at how people explain stuff, and yeah, I that's the piece that I really need to sharpen up on.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, for me, one thing that I've noticed in the last, I'm going to say 3 to 4 years, maybe even up to 5 years, for me, what I'm working on, and that I know I have to be more intentional, is my faith. Growing up, my family was very religious, and it was something that I felt was important as a kid and as a teenager, but then as an adult went completely away from it. And so that's something that I've now been working on. And, I got this little thing for my son, it's got a Bible verse. And my kid now, as I was showing you yesterday,
that's right.
It was crazy because I wanted to be intentional about it. But I think as me wanting to do that, it came to the family. And now my 12-year-old son is now texting me, sending me Bible verses and YouTube things because he's looking into it. He's sending it to me.
Nice.
So working on that for me.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, what scares you more today than it did 10 years ago? Oh, yeah.
You go first.
Sure. Oh, man, what scares me? Getting older scares me. Realizing that, the 50's around the corner, so I'm not the spring chicken, that I was, and was crazy. I was coming up through corporate world. I was always the young leader, the future leader, and I'm thinking like, man, in 10 years, I'm going to be the dinosaur. I'm not going to be the young leader anymore. And so positioning myself to be able to still add value at that level, right? I'm not going to be as quick and maybe as tech savvy as the next wave, but I want to make sure that I don't necessarily get shelved either. So those are things that scare me. What about you?
Oh, what scares me? I would say some similar things like getting older. That's definitely on the mind.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to miss spending time with the family as
Absolutely.
well as coming to mind. And what scares me about what else? There's my wife always says you're fearless, so I'm now thinking I don't spend a lot of time there. What scares me?
It's interesting you say that, eh? Because man, we call it the Willie factor. Like we've labeled it that because man, like you take some like decisions and you dive right into positions or spots that most people wouldn't. So I could say that you don't get scared easily.
Yeah, so that's one that I don't spend too much time on.
You moved through that one pretty quick, eh?
Yeah.
What's one personality trait that's been both your biggest strength and your biggest weakness?
To back up, what scares me the most is being on stage.
Oh,
That's the one I
being in front of people.
That's right. I was just thinking there is some stuff I fear. So that's one.
Yeah. That's that's an interesting one because I think we all feel that way, right? We get into our comfort zone.
Yeah, they sometimes say the doing public speaking is number one fear and death is second or something. So.
Yeah. Well, that one's inevitable. It'll come at some point. Yeah.
So what was the next question?
Yeah. What's one personality trait that's been both your biggest strength and your biggest weakness?
Oh yeah. Well, the strength piece is, I would say, the one thing, the attitude of getting it done has been my strength. And then my weakness is I don't communicate clearly enough a lot of times, and I leave people behind and they don't understand where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that for sure. Yeah. For me, one that's a trait that I have that is both a strength and a weakness is my focus to get something accomplished, which means I could bulldoze through some decision making, maybe even miss a couple things because I want to get it done. I see the project where it needs to end and we need to get there. And so that's a strength in that we complete it, we get it done. The weakness is that sometimes, it could rub off others the wrong way. And early on in my career, I saw that. And so I had to really be cautious about it. And now the speed factor, sometimes now I've learned that I had to take it back a bit to let others catch up to where I'm going. And then we get there together. But that comes with, consistent work because I know how I'm wired. Yeah. And so I know I want to get it done. So, yeah. So what does the other person do better than you? That's an interesting one.
Well, you do communications so well, so I look at how you explain stuff to people and it just instantly makes sense. And so that's one thing you do much better than me.
Yeah. Oh man. This is an easy one for me. You are like a true visionary. Like you see it, like you see where you want to take something. And sometimes like, I'm not that creative. I'm a doer, right? Like creativity. When it comes to problem solving, great. Like I enjoy that, and I'm wired to be able to problem solve. But to get creative at a very high level, that's where it's not in my wheelhouse, and I struggle with it, right? And so like when I think about even just investing, and you invest and you get creative in where you invest in. I like the safe stuff. I'm like real estate, that's pretty safe. It won't really break too much, but I've heard you talk about the shorts and this, and some of the stuff that you've gone into. And
well, those are one of my weaknesses too. I think I'm too aggressive. Yeah.
If all your business success disappeared tomorrow, who are you? Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, yeah. And this is something that probably has come across my mind. If I would lose everything, what would happen? And you know what? I think I would get back up and just go at it again.
Yeah.
It's that mentality. And yes, I would say in one way, I like to spend money, but at the end of the day, I don't really think much about or fearing about losing money. It's like my wife always says, you just figure out a way to go and make it again. And
Yeah.
so I think with that mentality sometimes is one reason why I've been able to achieve some success where I don't hold on to money. Yeah, for me, it's I invest it or I give it away.
Right. Interesting. You know, for me, I think like if I was to lose all the business success that I've had today, I think for me, it wouldn't phase me because the success that I've had is not who defines me, right? I think what defines me is my character. It's who I am as a person, and really the legacy that I've built through helping others. Similarly to you, you help so many people. And that's really what I find like pride in, is that I can go back to 20 years and I can talk to people, you know, in all walks of my career, that they've said, hey, you opened the door for me. You gave me an opportunity. You coached me on this. And that to me is more fulfilling than the business success. Like, yeah, like that'll be great. That's all there. But what legacy are you leaving behind, right? Like what are people going to say after you're long gone? And that to me is where if it was all gone, I'd be okay with it. I think ultimately, you know, it's life. So yeah. So if you had to start over tomorrow with nothing, what would you do first?
Oh, good question. I would come up with a clear vision. It would definitely be going into a business, and I think that's and I think the first steps is building those connections. Just getting out, talking to people. The networking piece is so huge for me.
Oh yeah.
And then just go all in and learning about that field of business or whatever you're going into.
Yeah.
Yeah, investing in yourself is probably
start there, right?
Yeah, start there.
Interesting. Yeah, if I had to start all over, I think for me, I'd get really niched in understanding that you could capitalize problem solving. You know, early on, I found like I could do that while being an employee.
Yeah.
And then later or now I'd be like, hey, I think this is a business and I could really make some good money just doing this.
Yeah.
So that's how I would start over again. And I would probably fast track the first 20 years of my career and just go right into that.
Yeah. And this is the thing I've sometimes is shared where people have asked me, if you started a trucking company again, what would that look like?
Yeah.
And, well, I think I would build it in the first 5 years to the level where it took me 16 years, the first one.
Right. Yeah.
Or I would fast track that one.
Yeah, because you've learned from the previous mistakes, Absolutely. Right? Yeah, you get a do-over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in 5 to 10 years from now, what will be different about you?
Different about to become a better husband and dad for my kids is still on the list.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's an ongoing thing for me, is to improve in that area. And
in what sense? Like, is it time or is it quality time? What are you looking at there?
So I do lack on the quality time sometimes.
Oh yeah.
With the family. And it's harder for me to sometimes switch off the business side of me.
Right.
And so that's the piece I'm working a little bit more on intentionally. And
interesting.
And then a better listener is yes, that's a huge one for me.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. I think 5 to 10 years from me, I hope that I've learned to say no to a few things and just really focus on a handful of niched activities and not try to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely a thing that I have to consistently work on. Well, that's awesome, Willie. Thanks for playing rapid fire here today. It's great.
Awesome. We've spent the last few minutes talking about the personal side of leadership, our habits, failures, fears, and the lessons that have shaped us. Now, I want to shift the gears. Hector, there's one leader you've talked about several times that had a significant impact in your life and how you think about leadership, vision, and execution. I think our audience is going to find this fascinating because there are so many lessons business owners can apply from it. Let's dive into that conversation. Hector, who inspires you?
Yeah, that's a good question, Willie. For me, I have to say that like I have like the biggest crush on Nayib Bukele. If you think about inspiration, someone that's a true organic leader in today's world. I don't know if you've heard of who he is.
Who is he?
Yeah, so he is the current president of El Salvador. And so he came to power now. He's on his second term.
Oh, wow.
Now of being the president and is running for the third term.
Okay. Yeah. Talk about why it inspires you.
Yeah, his leadership style is one that is so organic in today's business and political scenes that it changes it back to what it should have been, right? His true core values are we're here to work for the people. And that's his motto. And so everything driven for those people that have positioned you there. So like if you think at it from like a business setting, you're like, you work for those that are around you that are helping support you and your organization. And so I see what he's done. He took a country that had the murder capital of the world, and in less than 5 years, in his first term, made it the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, wow. And so can you tell me a little bit more and share some examples? Like what has that done for the country? Or
yeah, so his career path was quite interesting. Like he was an entrepreneur. That's what he did. His dad had several retail stores in the country. He was a businessman, and so he grew up operating the retail sector of El Salvador, and saw that there was a big gap in the leadership of the capital city. So he ran first as the governor of the capital city, was positioned there for a number of years and cleaned up San Salvador and did a really good job of the capital city. And then he moved on to have aspirations to be the president. And the first things that he did was realigned the country from the leadership standpoint. And he knew that leadership was broken. And he started to really align with the right people. So similarly to business, he brought in core valued alignment folks, kicked out all the corrupt ones, and brought in the good ones, the ones that aligned with his vision of where we wanted to go. And he just worked on a path of clear execution on that vision. And the first one was security. So like I said, he took the country that was the highest ranked for murders and like deaths and all of that to the safest in the Western Hemisphere. And he did that by being strategic, but being intentional. Fixed the whole, the correction system. He fixed the corrupt judges by taking them out, built the mega jail that houses now close to 80,000 gang members.
Oh, wow.
And then he built the police force to also go get the gang members and put them all into jail. But he did this all in the way that the country supported every move that he was doing, because he was aligned with what the people wanted.
So what is it about him that resonates for you personally the most?
Yeah, it's his passion and the way that he's driven. We just to give it perspective, right? There was 2 major earthquakes that just occurred in Venezuela. Yeah. Right? 7.9 and 7.6 magnitude earthquakes. They were massive within 30 seconds and just destroyed sections of the country. While everybody else is talking about helping, he didn't talk. He was like, we're sending help, and fired off 6 planes 3 planes full of staff, recovery staff, and then 3 planes with equipment because the country didn't even have rescue equipment. So this is like a tiny little country in in Central America, and he's not taking it to Congress or debating it with his, in the House. He's doing. And that's what inspires me about just his leadership styles. He takes action.
And how have the El Salvador people responded to his style?
Oh, it's been amazing. He has an approval rating of over 90%. Like it goes from 88 to 92%, depending on, what is happening in the country, but it's never dropped off below 88%. And this is a true vote. Like, some people will talk about like other leaders that, have empowered themselves and they consistently get the votes. Now, this is organic. Like you go to El Salvador and you talk to the average citizen, they will tell you how passionate they are about the leader. And what's even more inspiring is that this is a little tiny country, the smallest country in the Americas, but that leader is now inspiring a wave of change happening in Latin America. So it's woken up countries like Argentina, Colombia, Chile, like big economic powerhouses, like Panama. When you think of Latin America and economies, they're driven through Panama and Argentina. And these are countries that are looking to El Salvador for best practices. It's never happened before.
Wow. And what have been the results for the country?
Oh, economic growth. First, safety, stability. Yeah. Like that was the first thing. With stability came investment, right? And so now we're seeing foreign investment flowing in, which will now yield to economic growth for the citizens of El Salvador and the surrounding region.
What's next, you think?
Yeah. Well, his next term is in the horizon. And then from here is building up his vision. So now that he's fixed the safety aspect of the country, he's focusing now on the wealth, right? And making sure that there's an economic plan. So foreign investment coming in, building on tourism, and then breaking out a niche. And we see the niche that he's envisioning was very similar to the niche that Singapore built out a few years ago. So he wants to be the Singapore of Latin America and really go tech specifically. So Bitcoin, right? AI, infrastructures. He's brought in all the tech giants. Google just opened up Latin America headquarters in El Salvador.
Oh, wow.
And so he's doing that on purpose. He wants to bring tech investment there. And so that's where it's going.
So how can we learn from these examples the quality of leadership style? Like,
the takeaways from me are first starting with knowing who you are, right? And don't waver, don't bend with who you are and what your principles are. He knows those really straight on, and so he brings that. And by knowing that, you surround yourself with aligned people so that you could lead the right way. So that's a very key takeaway for me is know your standards, live your standards, and execute your standards.
What have you yourself learned about his management style?
The biggest takeaway that I've learned from him is humility. Like it's humbling to hear and see a guy that had millions on his private business and said, forget it. Like, I'm going to go help the people. And so there's a humbleness about him to want to do that, but to do it for the sake of helping. And I thought that was a key takeaway for me, and and how it aligns with me.
And if he was part of OBS, what would he say to business owners?
Yeah, I think he would hit on core value and vision. I think if he was sitting here, talking to business owners, considering the OBS, tools, he would align dead on with be very intentional about your vision, map it out, and then go work on it. And so he would hit on that would align with his style.
And if you were in his chair for a day, what would you do?
Oh man, I don't know. That'd be pretty fun. Yeah. Oh, it'd be sweet to sit in his chair, and I think it'd be important to, pick away at the opportunities of growth in the real estate investing opportunities that I would see in El Salvador. So if I sat in his chair, because of my passion with real estate, I would be like, all right, tech is cool. I get that. But how are we going to fix the real estate problems as well in El Salvador? And that's the chain that's the lane that I would go after.
And so why is it important to learn from other leaders in business, government, and otherwise?
Absolutely. It's knowing that, look, that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to put that pressure on you to think that you are the one that has to come up with them. There's other really smart people, really capable people that are already doing it and that have done it successfully. So learn from their best practices. You don't have to take everything in, but learn what they're doing, apply it to who you are, and make it your own, right? But it's important to learn from others, because you can't come up with everything. It's just not doable.
So what would you say to the people watching about what is OBS?
Yeah. OBS is an organization that has put together a framework that will help business owners get out of the stuck. They'll get out of the pain points that they're currently living in today. It'll give them clarity, will give them purpose, will give them the wins that they're looking for. So that's what OBS does. Is, we're not a consulting, we're not a coaching. Sure, that's the part of the framework that comes with it, but at its core, OBS is here to provide you the framework to get you out of, the bad habits.
How can OBS help El Salvador leaders?
Oh, man. I think bringing these leadership trades and the framework to Latin America, it would help provide that next wave of leaders and build momentum for a sector that hasn't been taught. And I actually think that this in Latin America would boom, because they don't have those business principles. They don't have those guidelines. Like, we've had them in North America for a long time. We've heard of these best practice concepts. They don't have them there. They just do by the seat of their pants, right? It's try this, try that. They don't have structure, so it will help them get ahead.
Awesome. What's last comment you want to make, and we'll wrap it up?
Yeah, I would just say, look, if you're sitting there right now wondering how you're going to get out of that pain point, whatever that may be, financially, people, vision, clarity, you're just stuck, you're overworked, reach out to us. I think that you'll be surprised at how easy this becomes clear to you once you spend an hour talking to one of us.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today, Hector.
Thanks.